May the 4th be with you, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And tonight, we're talking Mr. Banks on a very Star Wars centric edition of our all encompassing Disney podcast. And Dragon, it is Star Wars Day. It's on the brink of Star Wars Day. Most of the festivities have wound down at this point, but darn it, we want to be in here. We want to get in our last licks because I think we've got something really special to go over, something that really a lot of people are going to want to put their attention towards. Dragon, we are talking about Han Solo, a smuggler's tale. Oh man, Dragon, this is a fan film to end all fan films.
Smuggler's Trade.
A smuggler's trade. I'm sorry.
But yes, folks, we're talking about the Han Solo fan film that's sweeping the nation, and again, before Solo has come out. So, boy, oh boy, if there's a benchmark to hit with this upcoming Solo movie, I don't know what is.
This is essentially, the way I describe it is, it's Han Solo in the New Hope era. It's not quite Harrison Ford level of Han Solo, but it's like, Dragon, you describe it beautifully, is like kind of like the evolution chart, like
assuming Solo will work out well.
Yeah.
And again, we're pulling for it. Ron Howard in the chair, really promising trailer. We're pulling for it. Assuming things work out, that Han Solo is kind of like probably the same age as Luke, which means that's 10 years before A New Hope. This Han Solo seems very much he's in like within 1 year to at most 5 years, like 3 to 5 years before A New Hope. So basically, you could have like an awesome evolutionary chart of our excellent Han Solo here, Jamie Costa. But again, like in chronological order, you have Aaron Reich, you got Jamie Costa, then of course the great and powerful Harrison Ford.
Okay, so yeah, as we said, folks, this is going to be basically looking at it through the lens of, this is a fan film that's been sweeping the nation. It's been getting really hyped up for good reason. I really think the production values are very on point all the way through, and it's got a special surprise cast member that will sort of build up towards. So with that, Dragon, this movie's got kind of an interesting backstory to it. So why don't you take us through that as quickly as you can?
All right, folks, I'll make it nice and simple. So this fan film. Of course, Star Wars is known for its fan films. If we learn nothing from the people versus George Lucas, it's that oh my God, there are a lot of Star Wars fans, and boy, do they love to make fan films. Fan films so much that even coming down from the top, they encourage the fan films. They provide you sound effects, clips, and such to use in your fan film. So it's no surprise that we'd have a Han Solo fan film in the long sea of Star Wars fan films. So interestingly, a couple of YouTubers kind of came together in. I believe they have separate channels. I don't know if every single person has in the link. In the link to the video itself, to Han Solo Smuggler's Trade, you'll see in the credits a lot of links within the description. I'll take it to these people, and maybe you'll learn more. Who knows? We have director Keith Allen. We have Keith Allen, who I believe has one YouTube channel where they had done Star Wars parodies. They've done the parody raps for Star Wars, I believe.
Mm.
Then you have your writer. Our director's Keith Allen. Our writers are it's kind of a 3-person writing team here. We have Nathaniel Nauert, we have Jared Bell, and we have, again, Keith Allen, kind of helping out in the writing there. But again, the linchpin of it all here, kind of the glue that really kind of makes or breaks the project, obviously, is your Han Solo, because all the judgment falls upon the head of your lead guy. So Jamie Costa is an actor, filmmaker, and most importantly, above all else, an impressionist. That's really where he made his bones on YouTube, essentially, where he had like a demo reel, and he's been in a lot of videos on YouTube. And he's an actor who's in high demand. In that, my God, this guy is so talented. I mean, his impressions, he has a whole slew of impressions. The one that I think is go-to. I think the one that honestly kind of looks most like in day-to-day life is he looks like young Robin Williams, and he does a fantastic Robin Williams, and he's use that in his
demo. It's not even that he does a Robin Williams impression. It's just that his like default face is young Robin Williams.
Exactly, and amazingly, this guy can transform while again default Robin Williams, which is already impressive, and he has the credentials to back it up with the voices and the impressions. Again, he's a Mork and Mindy era Robin Williams, 24/7. But I mean, he can do Good Morning Vietnam, you name it. He's got all in the bag. Anyway. But again, another the guy he's played Wolverine, he's played Joker, he's played all sorts of other characters in fan films. And in this case, he has an excellent Han Solo. So one of the writers approached him with the script and asked, would you like to kind of help us make this and star, basically kind of co-produce and star in this fan film of ours. And he read it; it was really good. And they did some test footage, a little teaser of Han in kind of the Tatooine-looking desert, and they took that test footage, put like the trailer on YouTube, and they used that footage for the Indiegogo, which raised all the funding. No surprise there. Again, Star Wars fans, again, very eager to see fan films. I'm one of them. And Acosta was there to kind of help, kind of like bounce ideas off in the writing. Basically, kind of was kind of again, kind of the reverberation in the room, saying, "Okay, let's hear these, let's hash these ideas out." And he kind of helped sharpen the writing, kind of helped kind of nail down some bits. Again, they knew Han Solo was coming. Knew he was getting knew the Solo movie was coming, but it was in that early stage where we didn't even know who was playing Han Solo. So I guess this is kind of they're like, hey, let's just try to kind of beat the cool kids in a way here. It came out December 2016. Again, Solo wasn't mine, but not the driving force. Just like a younger Han Solo, like an adventure before A New Hope. Mm-hmm. And essentially, again, it came out. It's been kind of sweeping the nation. Again, it's been kind of the go-to kind of comparison for this and Solo, and I don't think we're alone in that sentiment, as I've seen with many people, like talking about Han Solo Smuggler's Trade and such. And we'll get to more details as we go through, specifically when we get to our villain.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, start us off.
Okay, so we start off in a very classic, familiar location that any Star Wars fan is going to instantly know and recognize: the cantina scene.
Yeah, it's so unclear because our settings, the locations they found in this fan film is so. I mean, one of the driving forces behind this was getting doing a fan film and getting it so screen accurate and authentic that you could buy that it was in the Star Wars universe. You could buy that it was in the original trilogy, like predates the original trilogy. Like kind of in that Rogue One space. That was kind of the goal. And you see they achieve in so many ways. Like when we get to the outside, but even on the inside, the exteriors and the interiors, they're so well detailed. And the outside, as we'll find, they used. And I found this out, Tiki. They used Joshua Tree National Park for the outside, which is where they get all these fantastic kind of rock formations. That again, it looks so much like Tatooine, but again, it's a little more grounded, a little more earthy. Again, because it's on Earth. Big surprise, and not in Tunisia, which is almost like another planet in itself. What's so cool about that is the fact that again you could still buy it as like another Tatooine or Jakku-esque world because there's just enough difference.
Really, what it comes down to, Dragon, is it's an inspiration to guerrilla filmmakers. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes.
As long as you can find a patch of land and shoot it right, you can get a Star Wars planet out of that. And that, to me, I find just, that's the magic of cinema right there.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of bugs me whenever sell like what planet it is, but then again, I kind of respect them for keeping vague. Like it doesn't matter. It's doing what the Force Awakens. They got you thinking of the original trilogy while it's presenting some new stuff. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So we open in kind of like it's a cantina / like a gambling den, if not like a poker game that's been kind of going on in a cantina. So again, they get all the details here. We have the lighting. We have some cool like little light lens flares. They're kind of like an homage to Abrams, perhaps. We got blue milk. We got all the small details, like all the scuff marks, like the Empire stickers, like the whole slew. They got everything there.
Red C-3PO.
Exactly. The costume designs are so spot on. I mean, again, like it looks like Han. Looks like there are a lot of deep cuts there too, because one of their characters, our big guy that we start off everything with, the guy who I presume. Basically, Han had a friend that most likely kind of led him into like a high stakes poker game. Or like a little kind of gambling den. Basically let him into the place, like an old friend, old contact, who is, his name is Gork, but from what I understand, there's a little bit of making of, and also I heard like an interview that Jamie Costa did, and this guy is inspired by one of the Expand Universe characters, Dash Rendar.
Dash Rendar himself, yeah, no doubt someone I would like to see in the movies, actually.
And honestly, again, this is where kind of the vague kind of Solo of it all comes in, because they fear like, oh, well, they might do this character, so let's just do him, but let's not call him by his name. We'll leave a little vague. You never know.
Hmm.
Dang, we had a fun intro with this guy. So Han's essentially cheating at cards when we start this, and he's gotten himself in the trouble. And then the Jarn, who is kind of our green skin, most likely bounty hunter, if not like a fellow smuggler thief. Because again, one of the great things of this thing, I love how the title justifies itself, where it's a smuggler's trade. So we see the other skeezy characters that Han Solo surrounds himself with, most likely other smugglers of the trade.
Yeah, I love how with the trade, it's like it's the actual profession of smuggling. It's like the trade-off that you have to take with your life and your morals. And it's also a physical trade going on within the plot. There's layers to it, Dragon.
Exactly, and again, I might be butchering the Jarn. It might be Jarn, might be the Jarn. It's like the action figure thing of Star Wars. Just you have to go with it and like hope it's phonetically somewhere spelled that we're not finding it, regardless. So the Jarn, we'll call her. The Jarn, she is like another kind of fellow thief, and she basically has her other card playing buddies, the other goons in the room here. They pin him against the wall, and they pull down his sleeve and they reveal like more of the metal cards. I love the detail. I love that you can tell they're metal. I don't know if they probably use metal cards, but regardless, I love that it sells you on the metal effect. Again, all the little details here, folks, because again, later on, that's going to be a really important detail. A little metal card up his sleeve. And I believe these are the same cards that we see in the solo trailer that Lando's playing with, too, by the way. So I kind of like that detail. It's space cards. So, anyway, so we reveal, okay, Han's been cheating. What's so great here in the direction? The direction is like Keith Allen is such a consummate director. Everyone on this project, I think, did an absolutely fantastic job. Where Keith Allen, he builds the reveal, kind of like again. But when this was made, we didn't. I'm not sure they announced who was playing Han Solo. Even if they did, regardless, if you're doing a film that hinges on Han Solo and you don't have Harrison Ford, you want to reveal it. You want to build a reveal to see how close they got, and we do that here, where you kind of pan around, and we eventually reveal his face. Jamie Costa as a seamless Han with that great music, which I'll tout up in a millisecond here. But we have Jamie Costa with a smile saying, "I can explain." And my God, Tiki, Jamie Costa, he found a balance of the impression and the performance. Would you care to speak to that a little?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that it's important that Alden Ehrenreich be able to aim for that same kind of level, where it especially fascinates me that Jamie Costa, is known as an impressionist. And I really like that he specifically set out with this performance to like, okay, I'll use the cadences I know of Ford to, but only when it's really necessary towards the character, only when I can really add on to the character in a dimensional sort of way.
That's the thing.
If there's going to be an imitation, it's going to drag down the characterization and it's going to make it feel less authentic. He's not going to go with it.
Exactly, because that's again, it's not a parody; it's a fan film, so you want to get that right. There's that interpretation of the role. I think the gist of this is that we're exploring Han Solo, and interestingly, a Han that we haven't really, Han in a position we've never really seen him before. Han technically Solo. Mm-hmm. And I just love the kind of the cuteness and the observance, how observant that is in your title. Like, oh my God, yeah, he is kind of Solo. It's the first time in all of Star Wars we've ever seen.
This fan film could literally just be called Han, Solo.
Yeah, because Han's alone, and that again, we're going to open this up to some great layers with Han that we haven't seen before, where he's introspective, and I think what Costa is getting to is that Han is that Han. What is he when you strip away all of his characters, all of his buddies? Like, who is Han when you kind of strip away a lot of the stuff we know Han for? Because he's without a Millennium Falcon, as we find out momentarily. So let's get to that before we go into that a little more. So after the I can explain, he's very. We have a very well choreographed fight. I love the fighting. I love how we have actually people dodging blows.
And we have a beat that you and I both love. Kind of the selling point of the whole thing. He tips over someone's blue milk at the bar, and then he very, very politely, Dragon, very genuinely goes over and he's like, sorry about that. Next one's on me. Before being dragged back into the fight.
And that's
Dragon, that to me, and I'm sure to you too, is classic Han Solo.
absolutely, that's the sell point. That's like, again, I was already like interested in it, like with the look and everything. But this is like the minute he said that line, it's like that's the cadence of Ford. That's again, it's the two-part thing I love about Han Solo. You know, it's that kind of that charm and wit in the face of grave danger, and the occupation itself. Kind of like the reason I like Deadpool. You know, I love the occupation. The danger is kind of smuggler, and in Deadpool's case, mercenary occupation. So let's see. So yeah, we have some. Yeah, we also have some great comedy with that stuff too. And again, kind of some great Hanisms. If not in the verbal performance, we have in the physical performance, where you know he's a lot of the time in this he's going to be flopping around, kind of like Han when he's turned the corner on A New Hope and he's running away. Again, very kind of old school movie serial-esque. So again, I love the physical kind of comedy we have in this fight of him dodging blows, and again, really being able to hold his own in a fight here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So again, our green skin antagonist, the Jarn here, she's telling Han it was a matter of time before his cheating was caught, and again Han, again classic Han comedy here. He's saying the card I played was the real deal. You gotta believe me, the card I played is the real deal. So again, there's that roguish charm of Han Solo. Again, that vaguely kind of Deadpool-esque quality, kind of like a guy having fun while he's in over his head. She's asking, "Does your mouth ever stop?" And he gives there's that levity with that smile that he gives. And what I love here, too, is one of the most pivotal moments of the whole fan film. He gives that smile. And again, here's where it's revealed to us, the audience, that yeah, Han's in dire straits. Like he's really masking the dire straits that he's in, as the Jarn reveals to us, the audience, no Wookiee, no friends, no one to help you now. Because again, I think what they're saying with this film is that Han is truly lost without Chewie, and this is before New Hope with his other friends. And again, this is getting to what Han Solo is deep down. Like, you know, what is Han without back to the days we've never really explored with Han that we're going to hopefully explore going into Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he kicks her away. He he kind of clocks the goons, heads together. He flips one guy. Again, really great stunt choreography too. He grapples with the Jarn, and one of my favorite bits on the rewatch is that he's grappling with the Jarn, and secretly he's pickpocketing her for the big kind of MacGuffin of it all. So as this happens, Han's friend and the organizer of the game, Gork, who we already kind of the Dash Reddar-esque guy from earlier. Yeah, he kicks Han out. Come on, Gork. I cheat. You cheat one time, you kick out your old friend. I'm in with the Hutts now.
I'm good with the Hutts. Maybe we can make a deal.
Exactly, and again, I love that again, that suggests that we're even closer to A New Hope, because you never know how long he's working for the Hutts. But again, it's like, oh my god, it's like, yeah, that's a cool little foreshadow for what we know with Han Solo. That's neat. So we see the exterior of the plant, and again, it looks great. It's all practical. We have that rocky location, and again, it looks otherworldly.
And this is what we're talking about, folks, where just the the cinematography and just being able to light it from certain angles, certain certain shadows, certain distances. I mean, it just blends together seamlessly. That's the most impressive part of this whole short to me, is just how well the scenery really gets in there, and it really feels like authentic Star Wars Dragon. It really feels like on location shooting in the best of ways.
Yes. So then we have the lightsaber reveal. Now again, the lightsaber, I love how it's used as kind of a MacGuffin, where I love that. Initially I was a little worried about it.
Step away for like 2 seconds, Dragon. Can you explain this? All
right. So initially, folks, I think there was a lot of fear in that, oh my god, we're introducing a lightsaber, and then Han Solo with a lightsaber, and of course, where we go with this, there's a great subversion amongst the fans of Star Wars of like, oh my god, you think it's going to be like, spitting on the gospel, if you will, but no, it's there's quite a plan in place, and with the lightsaber here, I mean, I love that it's kind of what they do with that. I really love, but in this case, I love it with the lightsaber, sort of it's kind of filling a quote of like, oh, it's a Star Wars fan film, we need a lightsaber, and that was my initial worry. Just we're forcing a lightsaber into a Han Solo thing where Han, he's known for the blaster, not the lightsaber. But again, we make it all work, and I love how we pay that off. So again, it was a subversion up on top of subversion, which was nice. So the Jarn is starting to give chase, and again, here's that great clunky Han Solo run. It's almost like Woody from Toy Story, like always flopping around when he runs. And again, it's that old kind of movie serial run that he has, where you turn a corner up, I'm in trouble, and he gives that smile, and he has that in over his head run. Where finally, after all these Star Wars movies, we have an explanation for why the blasters are missing for a change. Instead of bad aim, it's like, okay, well, they're dodging each other, trying to avoid the blast. Finally, so at least finally, again, there's dodging in this movie. Finally.
Yeah, just one of the few small touches that this movie does to like kind of oomph the Star Wars universe in a way.
Yeah. So let's see, he shoots her blaster, and then we have again. Honestly, it's the whole the short could have ended here. Honestly, because again, it's a great.
Okay, well, Dragon, that's something we were kind of joking about before. The whole idea that the short could have ended when he gets kicked out. The whole, like, I'm in good with the Hutts. Get out of here. Credits. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways that this short could end, but that's the thing, is that it just draws it out and it makes you want more, and it's a lot of endings in a way, but I feel like everything is thrown together pretty much perfectly to just leave you wanting more of a narrative fixation, even though the narrative kind of keeps tying itself up repeatedly throughout the story.
Yeah, it feels vaguely Lucas-esque, where it's, again, it's like kind of Lucas with Indiana Jones more so. I like that. Again, later on I'm going to explain, we do have kind of a vague Indiana Jones reference to really like, where, again, it's this sort of like in one mess out of another. It's the movie serial thing that Lucas fell in love with that he put into his movies, where, where here again, it's like it's such a movie serial ending where she just goes again, then over the top voice Solo, and he gets away on the on the speeder bike, and again, the really well recreated speeder bike. I believe in this sequence they use like a dolly track, and they use the green screen.
Sure there's 3 green screen shots total, 2 on the side and 1 face front. The face front one in particular looks really impressive.
It does, and they used it very minimally. So again, it kind of again, there's so much practicality all over this thing that again, when you see green screen, it's that you might recognize that okay, it's an effect, but again, it's like not taking you out of it like it would be like okay, nothing is real around our characters. Just like briefly, like for like 3 quick shots, it's it's digital, and again, it doesn't bug you at all. So, and take notes.
It's a definitive example of less is more. When you have the Star Wars prequels and the whole thing is just a vast sea of green screen, well, yeah, then the whole thing's going to have an artificiality to it.
Take notes, past George Lucas. Anyway, so let's see. Okay, then we
Red Tails now. BlueDragonFive. I don't know if you've heard of Red Tails. I know it's 2018, but the movie's going to get a following, Dragon. I know it is. Red Tails it's ahead of its time, Dragon. It's like poetry.
All right. So again, it could have ended there because again, also what do we have? But it could have ended there, but then wipes. George Lucas style wipes. Yes,
circle wipes.
Yeah. So again, we have more of that great mountainous terrain, and again, a natural location. Again, Joshua Tree National Park. I'm pretty sure. I believe that's where I looked at the credits. They named a couple locations. I'm pretty sure that's the one because I looked it up on Google Images, and I think that's. All right, let's see. So again, very Tatooine-esque. It was a great use of the environments. As we've already touted up the usage of the environments, but let's tout up also the use of the color schemes because I love. We have a real day-night cycle to a lot of this, but even beyond that, along the day-night cycle, every location has like a great, almost every scene, if not every location, has like a great kind of color scheming, kind of like almost like a swatch of color. Where the first scene's like all dark and like also like a lighting scheme too.
First scene's kind of like dark and you almost kind of have like a green tint to it. Then we get the bright yellow of the escape, and then now we get kind of a more muted kind of blue color scheme.
Yeah, and again, as it gets closer to the layer, you get like kind of a gray overcast, and then the layer, and then of course like this beautiful kind of like outdoory sunset. So a lot of great kind of again very well used. And again, I think the important thing at this strikes that honestly, believe me, I'm a fan along the Tiki of the Last Jedi. A lot of people would maybe think that heresy, but believe me, we're defenders of Last Jedi. But one of the things I think Last Jedi is kind of lacking in is that some elements, particularly the score, and I guess what this short embodies overall, Last Jedi needed more of, kind of some standout, kind of some visual standouts. I mean, this thing feels more like like each set piece kind of like it stands and sticks in your mind, has more of a kind of an adhering kind of visual motif about it.
It's a really impressive economic use of 11 and a half minutes when you factor in the credits.
That's what I'm saying. It's 11 and a half minutes of just like not a lot of minute is wasted, really. So let's see. All right, so again, I love the command over our New Hope style time elapse because again, Tiki and I love the we use pace again. We're using 11 and a half minutes so well, and we're able in the midst of all this, we got to use you basically got to hit all your beats. While we're hitting all our beats, we still have time to kind of sell you on like the memories of, oh my god, remember New Hope when C-3PO and R2-D2 are wandering in the desert, and you'd see like kind of like
and that's
fate.
exactly the most impressive thing about the whole short to me, the fact that it feels like a New Hope, the fact that even in the 11 and a half minutes, it's not a breakneck, like joke, 11 and a half minutes. It's very much Han Solo's twin son story. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It takes its time to get somewhere, which is in such short supply these days. You know, and also another point, it takes him a couple days to get where he's going. Like the speeder bike breaks down. I think that's what he uses to make the fire, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but the point is, like the speeder bike breaks down at a certain point, or like it's out of gas, so he has to walk the rest of the way. And again, it takes him a couple days to get where he's going. Hence the whole day-night cycle. And again, we're spicing up darkness and some great silhouettes with a fire. Like again, this great.
Oh, I love the shot of the silhouette with against the fire in the night sky, and then the ship heading up in the background. Tell me that's just not classic Star Wars.
That's what I'm saying. Every scene here, honestly, you could take as a screenshot and say, "Oh my god, it's such a fantastic movie! Look at it. It's so Star Wars." And again, that's kind of what Star Wars Day and May the Fourth be with you is all about. Like, you can go, or when a new Star Wars movie comes out, you can go on the street and see anybody and just like shake hands like a baby's been born. Star Wars, Star Wars. And you just say Star Wars to each other and just be like, like, oh my god, oh they're so, it's iconic. It's Americana. It's your childhood. It's the future of humanity. Oh boy, it's wonderful. So again, here after so in that fire shot we're talking about, we have again a glimpse at a rare contemplative Han, and he's in this great silhouette, and I love it in the music. So let me highlight one of my absolute favorite elements of this. I'm in love with the guy who did the score for this, Andrew Gerlicher.
Yeah, we were saying, I think out of any like new Star Wars thing, my God, I think this guy gets the prize for like the most authentic new Star Wars music.
Yeah, I'm saying, I think it beats Rogue One but especially beats Last Jedi. Again, folks, I like Last Jedi. The one thing I really have to know about Last Jedi is that the score. I mean, aside from when we bring back the old scores, I mean, we don't have any new scores like we did with Force Awakens. Just bringing back some of the other stuff. We're not really making anything kind of new or anything really stand out. And until Luke's in the fray, I'm not really hearing anything that's really like an earworm. But like, oh my god, remember that big Luke sequence towards the end of the movie? Oh my god, the score was great in that moment. But for the rest of it, it's like, can't do a Blade theme. Can't really remember that. You know what I mean? But oh my god, so Andrew, he did an excellent job in that. Here's the thing, it's always unclear how much score they're allowed to use. I presume it's like in the sound library to an extent where they can use a lot of the music. But what he does with it is so brilliant. He recreates the theme, and what he does is he kind of splices in different John Williams themes, or what he does later on, which amazes me, is he kind of takes a theme and he changes the intention behind it. So we'll get there. But right here, what's so great, and again, this is the thing John Williams has been cited with, and it's not his fault. It's a thing. If you do so many scores, like especially John Williams, like he's done like an almost infinite amount of scores for movies, you're bound to have a few that sound alike. And Han's like looking up to the stars, and you have these ships that are flying. And what I love with this is that you could read this in a couple ways. Like, I think what they're really trying to say is that he's reminded of the Millennium Falcon, which he also lost, and it's kind of in a weird way. They're using love themes. They're using either the love theme from Indiana Jones, which I hope is the case, or they're using the Princess Leia love theme, which of course he hasn't met Leia yet. And the cool thing about that is, again, either or, if it just sounds alike, or he did like a cool thing of splicing the two together, is that it's kind of a man's love affair with his spaceship. That's kind of what he's doing in the score there, which I really love. It's like, at the very least, if it's not like a kind of love affair with the spaceship, it's kind of showing Han's vulnerable side, as he will show later to Leia,
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I definitely think this moment is Han Solo's twin sons moment, much in the same way of Luke in A New Hope.
And
It's
again,
the moment where we really get kind of a thesis statement on where he is, where his morals are, but we don't need to say a word about it.
and what's interesting, and again, like there's no way they could have known this, but again, we'll see what happens in the movie. I don't mean to cite that too much. I'm trying to do as minimally as possible here, but with Solo, it could be a really awesome, happy accident. Again, if that movie delivers, this thing would be like the perfect companion piece ever. Where uh,
Oh, I mean,
Han,
if Solo does really well, they should just put this movie on the DVD as a bonus feature.
I'm saying, yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is, it'd be really neat if Han is taken back to kind of one of my favorite kind of elements of the trailer and the marketing for Solo is that he's like Luke, just a kid who wants to fly, a kid who wants to be a pilot, and that kind of took him to all sorts of crazy places.
I have a really good feeling about this.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like him looking to the stars, like looking to a spaceship, that kind of reminds me of like, okay, it's kind of like that would make it absolutely his binary sons. That make it his twin sons moment. Of like, yeah, I remember when I was alone before I met you and met the rest of the gang, where I was an aspiring pilot. So again, it's kind of taking him back a little, perhaps. Again, see where it goes. Okay, anyway, so the next day, Han arrives to the kidnappers' base, and again, we have this great. Again, I love this visage, kind of like the Sand People, and
This
this
is
is a
the
real.
most impressive set piece in the whole movie, I think.
It is, but I also love that he has like the bandana and the sand goggles, kind of like the Sand People have, or kind of like what we talked about with Iron Man, where if you're in a desert location, you need that stuff so you don't get sand in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, there's a really great moment before he enters the base here, and there's so much to say about the base and the design of the base and everything, but. I love that you see a moment before he ventures into the danger zone, if you will. Not to quote Archer, but the danger zone. Uh, he, he's genuinely worried, and again, that contemplative Han comes out there. He's genuinely worried, and he's going to mask that when he walks into this place. So it's before we get the fully cocky in his comfort zone Han in Episode 4, where he's shooting Greedos, and he's like, hey, here, sorry for the mess, like that Han. So he's not there yet. So, all right, so next we have he makes his way into the base, which is buried within these rocks. And again, I love it's almost like Yoda's cave almost. And again, it's a great natural rock formation where this is where you get
I just think it's so inspired that they were able to scout out this location and just come to realize that by shooting it in a certain way, it would look exactly like this kind of like hideaway ghetto for sand people on a desert planet.
Yeah, it's a cross between. It's kind of like it's a closed-in location like Yoda's cave, but it's also very much like when R2 was kind of going alone in the beginning of New Hope before he got captured by the Jawas. And again, it's a very possibly Jawa. Again, if it's Tatooine, again, I'm unclear of the all the Jawa stuff, but the point is, it looks a lot like the location where the Jawas would gang up in like a real cavernous location, like Han's like walking in a path that looks identical where R2 was. And so again, it's an excellent location. We have these again. The reason I hesitate in calling them Jawas is that they have these red gloves, which the Jawas didn't have. I don't know if it's just like them spicing it up a little, saying, "Well, maybe it's Jawas on another planet." You never know. The point is, Jawa. Let's call them Jawa guards. Whatever. The Jawas are these Jawa-esque creatures. They again very much like Yoda's cave. There's a really cool bit where they confiscate Han's weapons and like his satchel and. Of course, Han is that great tough guy one. Hey, I better get that back. I better get those back. Because, yeah, that's my iconic weapon. I'm nothing without my. I need my blaster, darn it. Oh, how am I going to sell action figures? So, he enters the lair. The lair I love is a simple design, which kind of reflects kind of our archaic film, like an old school guy who is just like basically it's a cloth, which again seems like a simple yeah, it's a kind of it's a cheap set design, but it works wonders and it's appropriate to character. He only has the items that are important to him and just the rocks and cloth. That's about it. So we start Tiki with one of the most impressive shots in the whole thing, where we have a great reveal of Chewbacca and Tiki. I don't know what it is. I think it's the lighting. I mean they have a great Chewie costume, but I think it's the lighting and everything. How they shot this. Where honestly, if you took the shot of Chewie of Chewie in the cage, where Chewie's in a cage, and it's like the most flawless Chewbacca in a cage shot you've ever seen. It looks directly out of a movie.
You take that shot, put it in the trailer for episode 9, and I'm convinced it's a moment in episode 9.
That's what I'm saying. It looks that good, folks. I mean, so it's, as we reveal, Chewie's been captured for leverage of, like a smuggling trade gone wrong for Han to steal a lightsaber. That's what, essentially that's where our plot is. And I like how we reveal this, by the way. I like that it's not all given it like exposited to us at the beginning. I like we kind of learn this. Again, not like a mystery, but kind of like an adventure, you know.
Oh.
So then we reveal, oh boy, we reveal a big standout in this whole affair, folks. Again, we talked about Jamie Costa. My God, he's great, but still we have an excellent villain. A villain who, again, as far as I'm concerned, again, this thing did such a good job. Is like we got him in the Star Wars universe, and it's about darn time. We have the great Doug Jones in this film, folks. We have Doug Jones,
Lon Chaney himself.
Yes. You know, the suit performer, honestly, like probably the best suit performer in the business. But again, an actor all around too. He's done voice work, but primarily, again, we've seen him very much like a Lon Chaney. We've seen him in so many, so many costumes, so many great monster designs. One of Del Toro's favorites, and of course the Silver Surfer. You know, he's played so many great iconic roles, and most recently, again, he's yet another reason I love The Shape of Water. I mean, he did so good in that movie. and they got him here, and from all I understand, Doug Jones, he's quite approachable. He's an actor's actor. He's a guy who just loves the job. He took a significant pay cut for this compared to what he usually gets for a job. And I think it's probably a twofold thing. Of first and foremost, hey, I want to be in a Star Wars movie, even if it's like a fan film. I love Star Wars. I got to be in this. And secondly, it might be like for a change, I don't have to wear like extensive makeup or a suit. I have to figure out how to walk in for a change. It's an actual performance that utilizes the 90-pound, real spindly, bug-eyed Doug Jones in the best way possible as a Star Wars bad guy.
And then meanwhile, Tom Hardy's like trying to take off some weird metal contraption off his face, and no one's like, "Hey, no!"
Yeah. So your show, who, by the way, so again, I'm not very well versed in the expanded universe. I know like very cursory stuff about it, but I do know mainly anything I know about the expanded universe would stem from Clone Wars. So I know a little bit of anything connected to Clone Wars, the CG animated series. So we see Gyorsho. Interestingly, he has what I'm convinced from my findings has to be a Mandalorian mask. And again, I guess if the filmmakers are out there, they could kind of say what this mask is from or what it's inspired by. But it looks very much like one of the Mandalorian masks. Now, Tiki, are you familiar with the Mandalorians at all?
No, I'm not. To me, the mask just looked like kind of a standard bounty hunter mask.
Well, that's the thing too. It's kind of, and that's intentional because essentially the Mandalorian, just believe me, just simplify it is. Mandalorians are like what Boba Fett is. Essentially, Jango Fett and Boba Fett are tied into the Mandalorians. Like these are guys who are like a warrior race that wears Boba Fett-esque armor. And I believe Boba Fett, he adopted the Jango Fett specifically, which is then passed down to Boba Fett. He adopted the Mandalorian guys. The Mandalorians, they're kind of like the Crusaders, like the old religious kind of guards. Like the point is, he's like ancient warriors, like they're revered in the galaxy. It's kind of like these are guys like if the Jedis were around, these guys were the bounty hunters even in the olden days. That's kind of the idea with the Mandalorians. Very fierce warriors that tie into the Jedi Order. So I don't know if Gyorsho is a Mandalorian or if he just like took the Mandalorian for the significance, like these guys have history with the Jedi or such. So it's unclear. And I love that you don't need to know.
I kind of like the idea that the way I picked up on this guy is that he's almost kind of like the Star Wars equivalent of the Collector, where his whole goal is to like get these artifacts for himself, even though he might not have any real ability to use said artifacts. It's all about kind of like the pursuit of them for him.
Yeah, you're right. And the cool thing is, like, he's kind of a combination of very much like an Indiana Jones villain, like a Belloc or a like Belloc or Walter Donovan mixed with like Gollum in a way. So he's kind of like a mixture of that, but again, really more so the Collector in the end. But here's the thing: is that my favorite element with this guy is that he's like a religious zealot for the Jedi way, which makes him like an evil version of the character we got in Rogue One, Chirrut Imwe, the blind guy who's like, I am the Force, the Force is in me, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's like an evil hermetized version of that. And again,
right, it is. Yeah, I can see that.
And what I love most about this idea, Tiki, is that, and again, I guess it predates it and thinking about it now, but accident or no, again, this shows you how it would fit in everything so well. this is kind of what Luke was talking about. This is kind of the danger of the Jedi way that kind of breeds zealots and people celebrating the Jedi Order as like it was the end all be all. And again, there's a danger that can come from that. Like, again, you have the positive example with Chirrut and with Gyorsho. It's the example of like kind of fanaticizing the Jedi ways and kind of turning that into like, oh my God, the Jedi's, it's the answer to everything, and we can kill everyone as long as it's in the name of the Jedi's. Something really. And really, it's very fascinating. Again, it would fit like a puzzle piece in the whole Star Wars tapestry, if you will. Well-woven thread in the Jedi tapestry. Anyway, so again, again, Doug Jones, he looks great, and again, even without makeup for a change, again, it looks like he's wearing the kind of this exposed armed kind of like robe with this hood up, and again, it removes the mask. It's just really, he's really cool looking and menacing. What does Han want, Tiki?
Well, he wants his Wookiee back, god damn it.
Yeah, wants his Wookiee back, and again, I love the hypocrisy, and kind of, again, I like the Jedi looked in like the religious context of this guy. Again, he's just a Jedi zealot, where he criticizes Han's thieving ways, his thieving lifestyle, and he says, "Look, I'm not here to steal. I'm selling a trade, and I've got it." And this is like one of the moments that Doug Jones, I got goosebumps with when I was watching. It's like, oh my God, because again, the score is fantastic in the scene. Because the minute Han pulls out the light, first and foremost, Doug Jones, I love his eyes go bug-eyed, and he just the intensity in the performance where he says,
"Show it to me now.
Show me now." And then
it reminds me of kind of like Gollum in a way.
That's what I'm saying. It is kind of like the Gollum mix in there. Something it's like Gollum meets the Collector or something. I don't know. So and here's what my favorite moment in the entire score of this thing. You can think the score is great and all this. I love that we underlay kind of the Luke Jedi theme here. We have like the Jedi theme when Han pulls out the lightsaber, and then so with a hand motion, Gyorsho motions like one of the Jawas to bring it to him. And the second it's in his hand, in the wrong hands, if you will, the music turns that theme in on itself, or turns like a dark and twisted version of the Jedi theme. Oh my God!
Yeah,
so
good stuff.
Yes, again, he's just Doug Jones is fantastic. And using such a small dose here, and he's only on screen for, I would imagine, like 4 to 5 minutes, and
maybe 5 minutes, yeah.
Honestly, maybe 3 if I'm being honest. I mean, he's there because again, we have like to get there first. I mean, anyway. So, and again, he has all of his lines are gold. I mean, the writing is so on point with him. Just again, they're selling me on. I want to know more about this guy in a way. All the armies, starships, and empires in the universe, meaningless compared to the true power of the Force. And again, we cut the Han. Han's skeptical, gives like a skeptical eye roll where it makes all sense. He hasn't met Luke yet. He hasn't bought into the Force. He's very skeptical of it. Basically, you don't. I myself don't wield it, but the Force must be revered. And again, there's that Chewat Imwe idea, which again is the danger Luke's kind of speaking of people deifying the Jedi's and it being a bad idea.
So essentially, this comes down to like Han Solo is not worthy, and therefore the Wookiee would fetch a big price at the spice mines.
Exactly. He's the reveal of the double cross there. So by the way, the spice mines, from what I understand, that's Kessel. So, and again, I'm pretty sure based on the trailer that we saw, I'm just kind of putting some puzzle pieces here together. I think what they're suggesting here, again, might be like an expanded universe pool. Who knows? That I think Wookiees might be prevalent in the spice mines of Kessel because they need muscle to basically kind of slave labor to kind of get the spice mines mined. Yeah.
I think you might be onto something. We'll see how it goes. We've got a couple weeks away from that movie.
So I got two. As much as we're talking up all this here and all the great qualities of this fan film, I got two very, very minor scratch mark errors here. Two very minor errors. I just want to highlight to be completely objective here. We have two errors in this scene and the action that follows. One is that Chewie's eyebrow, and this is in the behind the scenes. You can see it in the movie. One of Chewie's eyebrows is like kind of comes unglued from the mask or something, so it's like it's flopping around. But you could always say, oh, it was just he's all shaken and he's disheveled and he's in a cage. Darn.
So
anyway, we'll get to the other one. It's coming up real soon. So.
All right, one of my favorite moments is coming up right here, Dragon, where basically Han is like, we had a deal, Girosho. And Girosho is like, but you make a mockery out of our secret ways, Solo. And here's the line, Dragon. Here's the line. It's a classic Harrison Ford delivery. It's when Jamie Costa does slip into the impression, but it's beautiful. He's like, I may not be the most honest guy in the galaxy, but a deal's a deal. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes, I'm not leaving without my Wookiee.
That's the line. That's the poster line right there. I'm not leaving without my Wookiee.
All right,
taken with a Wookiee.
So then, in a very perhaps Last Jedi style controversial move, Solo presumably uses the Force to wield the lightsaber.
Yeah, so it's a big awestruck moment. Again, the score's fantastic here. It gets really loud, gets really big and buildy. And when the Force is used, you imagine you're going to do that. So, I love that. I love that with Girosho, he has that line earlier on too. It's just like, you, Solo. He gets really defiant with him, and that just shows you as he's about to scoff at him for what he's just done here. I love that this is a guy who thinks he's a civil businessman like the Collector, but again, at the end of the day, he's a savage. He's savage and simplistic, and he's a guy thinking he's better than others because he believes in the Force, essentially. So, again, the big bug eyes come out when he sees Han use the quote unquote Force, and again, the Force is the whole thing of the lightsaber is a great nod to Han being the first character in the movies to hold a lightsaber aside from a Jedi. So he said, that's not possible. So Han runs to the cage, and here's the other error. Why the heck does he put the lightsaber on for the big dramatic reveal, yet it's off when he runs to the cage? It didn't power down.
Some dramatic tension there. I don't know.
You're right. I'm just very, very minor, like a little scratch mark on the giant monolithic statue of Han Solo we got going on here. Okay. So he gets into a fight with Girosho. He's not fooled.
You are no Jedi.
Calls my heathen, which is this is your heathen trickery. I'm not fooled by this heathen trickery. So it's a great.
My creatures will enjoy devouring you.
Oh my god, it's such a terrifying line. I love that. It looks like he's almost
saying. Like Doug Jones really digs his teeth into it.
And yeah, I love the scary how scary Doug Jones is with those bony eyes and that convicted menace. He's so convicted in his menace of him. I'm going to feed you. Oh god, it's so my creatures will enjoy devouring you. It's just such a horrifying line. Again,
we get a good kind of back and forth banter between Chewie and Han. Again, kind of a benchmark we want to see in Solo, where it's like, I don't know, Chewie, just turn it on. Just point it at. Don't point it yourself. Point it at the bars, but turn it on. I don't know. It can't be that hard.
And again, it's I love we have the Han Chewie dynamic in like 2 minutes. It feels like a friendship that's been there forever. And of course, the big line here is one of the great lines here. The big James Bond of it all, I guess. Those who do not believe get what's theirs, Solo. Then Han has the line. You have the line?
I believe in something too, Girosho. Never upset a Wookiee.
Of course, that's a big callback to Han's advice to C-3PO. You should always let the Wookiee win. Well, the whole Wookiees are known for ripping people's arms off when they get upset. So with Tiki, it's off screen, and we have the big Chewbacca reveal. He's right behind him, and the suit looks great. And he takes him off screen. And Tiki, we don't see it, and I like to keep it to the imagination. As far as I'm concerned, like if you know the movie, if you know A New Hope in that moment, he's ripping that guy's arms off.
Oh yeah. All
right, so our duo leave the place, wonderfully silhouetted by the sun.
This moment, Dragon. This moment is just like it's gorgeous. It's
a Casablanca homage in space, and it looks fantastic.
So, it's basically like a space version of the ending of Last Crusade.
Yes, and real quick though, also like Han, he dusts himself off, and he gives like a shaggy hug with Chewie. Again, very much Empire Strikes Back. Asking, says, "Hey, you've been in a cave long enough. You've been in a cage long enough. Let's get you out of here." Then we have the sunset stuff. Oh my boy, it's fantastic. So, what does Chewie ask him, Tiki?
Well, Chewie asks him, basically, "Oh, you're not a Jedi, are you?" "No, I'm not a Jedi."
Again, this is the great Han Chewie back and forth.
The Force, if you've got a few tricks up your sleeve, Chewie.
And we were revealing Tiki. I was pumping my fist in the air when I was watching this because,
Oh,
like,
I
oh
know,
my,
I know, I was too, because this was such a great kind of like, it was a great subversion of expectations where the expectation was like, oh no, they kind of went a little too far and they made Han Solo a little too adept with the Force too early on, right?
yeah. Now, when I was watching this again, I had like until like it was happening because again, like it was like, what? How's he doing that? And the part of me was wondering, wait a minute, because those cards were metal earlier on. Are they going to go there? Again, I was wondering, are they going to go there? And they did. And I was so happy with them. Again, he basically uses the metal, basically the magnet up his sleeve to attract the lightsaber in his hands. Like, oh my boy, that Han Solo, he's so darn clever. And then we have some great back and forth between him and
Oh
Chewie.
my god, yeah, this is wonderful. And again, I would say that the three moments that get me, Dragon, the three moments that get me is moment number one. Sorry about that. Next round's on me. Moment number two. I may not be the most honest guy in the galaxy, but a deal's a deal. Moment number three, Dragon, the moment that just signed the deal for me on this is oh shoot, hold on. I have it. Let me find it. No, you can't have it. You'll hurt yourself and then you'll hurt me.
Yeah, that's a great Han line.
You'll hurt yourself and then you'll I just love how specifically Han and Chewie that is.
Just want to say like an Abbott Costello film with Han and Chewie, just like an odd couple, like they share an apartment or something.
And as we said, they're kind of walking into the desert planet sunset as this is going on, and kind of fills in the linchpin for what exactly we're hoping for in a 2-hour Han Solo movie.
Well, sure, but remember, it's probably like they lost it again. So the point is, he's saying now we got to get the Falcon back, and she was asking, well, of course, we'll see how they got the Falcon in the first place in the movie. That's what we're hoping for. But now we got to get the Falcon back. She was asking, what's up? What? You lost the Falcon? Said, it's a long story, and then of course, and this is a great meta thing here. Basically, it's
that's great because like the long story is presumably like how they, we might see that long story in Solo, a Star Wars story.
Right. And, or again, Tiki, I think what they're really saying is that it could be a sequel to this, where again, Solo probably takes place before this, but, again, I don't know, but regardless, it's saying like maybe later. That's their fourth wall way of saying, hey, might get a sequel if we get enough, another Indiegogo going.
Right.
I got the Falcon back, and again, it's a clever way around not having a convincing looking Millennium Falcon yet at the same time, making a story point. Again, that allows us to learn something new about Han Solo, and again, kind of see what Han goes through for his friend, for someone who kind of makes him complete. So, oh my God, so that's the ending, folks, and boy, oh boy, is it phenomenal.
All right, final thoughts then. Dragon, I'm so glad you brought this to my attention. I'm so glad we gave it time to give it its proper due before May the 4th ended. We had some technical glitches last night that we seem to have wrapped up. This is just a really damn good, very passionate fan project, and just it astounds me from a technical level. It really impresses me from a level of pacing and writing and performance. It just all the elements really come together to create something that I as a Star Wars fan just really appreciate and really admire. And with something like Solo, a Star Wars story looming over the horizon, kind of we have our expectations and we have our optimism for Solo, but at the end of the day, this feels so genuinely Lucas. This feels so genuinely New Hope that I have my doubts that Solo is going to be able to capture the same charm. And but at the end of the day, maybe that's what a fan film should do, is really kind of light a fire under the creators' feet and really get them to put out as good of a project as they possibly can. And I hope that Solo, a Smuggler's Trade, really helped, kind of inspire Solo, a Star Wars story. All right, what do you got, Dragon?
Well, let's see. So I think it's a wonderful surprise of a fan film. Possibly one of the most professionally done of all the fan films ever. To be honest, I was probably the most impressed I've been by a Star Wars fan film. I've liked a number of them, like Troopers and stuff. I mean, there've been good ones. But again, this is like probably the most professionally done. I can absolutely see this in continuity. I think that's like a benchmark when you have like a truly like a different in terms of like when you have something that's like a gem of a success of a fan film. Like when you can put it into the movie, into the continuity almost seamlessly. I think that's what you have here. It's like a rarity that you have in fan filmmaking. There's always like it's so wonderful when you can do that. Jamie Costa, he's a great actor. He's a phenomenal Han. I hope that it definitely shows that Aaron Reich has his work cut out for him. Again, it'll be fantastic if we can just like have those three actors like a little evolutionary chart, you know. So again, it reflects Han Solo before Star Wars, and despite having trappings like the lightsaber, again, it made all like you wonder, oh boy, we have a lightsaber jammed in there, but my God, they made it work, and they made like a wonderful like, little button on everything. Oh boy, that Han Solo is so clever. You know, it's a testament to the stay power and impact that the original trilogy and Harrison Ford's performance left on people, and inspire this group, inspire these people to make it so, to make the put it into being, put into existence for everyone that check out, especially check out hopefully on the eve of Solo. And no pressure, Ron Howard, but I mean, my God, it's keeping it's keeping the dream alive. Like you could have anthology films work like this, and look what they do in 11 and a half minutes. So it continues at the end of the day, it continues the fine art of Star Wars fan filmmaking, and it's the best 11 and a half minutes you'll spend on May the 4th.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us on May the 4th. And, just remember, May the 4th be with you.
And with you as well.
Next round's on me.